Come on in here, come on in here. As I proceed and continue to rock the mic. Shall I proceed and continue to rock the mic? Come on in here, y'all. Come on in here. What's up, Red Williams? We're going to talk about a few things tonight. What up, y'all? Whew. I ain't been talking to y'all lately, man. I've been tired. Last week, I worked like a motherfucking dog. How you get your Twitter IP address permanently suspended, yo? Ricky Francis, you gotta explain that, bruh. I swear to people that y'all be some assholes out there. How the fuck? Nah, Larry Smith, I didn't see Top Gun. I still want to see that shit. I appreciate that, Dre Day. What's up, Quan? I appreciate all y'all, man. I've been tired as fuck, man. I worked like crazy last week. And I got a crazy week ahead of me this week at work. So usually I would come to y'all on Sundays and Mondays, guaranteed. Like, I didn't do no instants and ashtrays, no interviews. A nigga just been tired as fuck, man. I just need... And for y'all who've been following me for a long time, y'all know, every now and again, I'm going to take a break from posting and doing videos because, you know, when I do these videos, when I talk to y'all, I speak from the heart, you know what I mean? I don't rehearse. I don't pre-plan what I'm going to say. I may have one or two points I may have think about going into a talk, but I really don't pre-plan anything. I come straight from my heart. So sometimes a nigga need to just sit his ass down, you know what I mean? I'm a firm believer. When you talk a lot, you need to spend a fair amount of time not talking and just looking and observing. I'll be like Quan S in them Twitter spaces. She be up in them motherfuckers, but don't be saying a goddamn thing. I be getting my Quan on every now and then, where I just go up. I'll be in other people's rooms. I won't chat. I won't say anything. I'm just listening. Because I like to get a vibration of what's going on out there without my input. I like being able just to see what it is and just observe, you know? And then when I'm done decompressing, thank you, Positive Influence, I appreciate that, yeah. So, Smoke Splitter, are you in on a big trigger? That's why he got suspended? Yeah. But when you give out a lot, sometimes you got to sit back and just get it, you know, absorb it. And that's the space I've been in. Just absorbing. And I'm still not all the way ready to, I just felt like, I just decided 5 minutes ago to come on live right now. Tomorrow morning, I'll be reading, this is a 4 Diamonds week. The week in Cardology starts on Mondays. So today starts the 4 Diamonds, and tomorrow morning I'll be reading the 4 Diamonds. Reading this week. and letting you guys and talking about what's in store for the week, with it being a Four of Diamonds week. Quick hint: the Four of Diamonds is a card of secret of money from nowhere. So some of you out there, y'all gonna get some money out of nowhere that's drop into your lap sometime this week. Some shit you weren't expecting. If that happens, hit me back and just say, hey, thank you for letting me know about that. With it being a Four of Diamonds, somebody gonna hit me like, Dwan, how'd you know? That's what the Four of Diamonds does. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. Oh, and also, I have a hey Quan, type that in the chat room tomorrow. I'll read it, okay? Yeah, hit up Sister Jayla, Light the Mood candles, 40% off. Her candles, Weed Smoke 22. Jayla Baxter, hit her up. What's up, Vernon? This nigga C. Vesey said, I hope that's finding more than a quarter of nickel on the ground. It's gonna be whatever your consciousness allows to be accepted, C. Vesey. Yeah, I appreciate the hot tub, Tony. You say you just lost 4 family members you should have a relationship with? That's something, man. That sucks. What's good, Mark? Oh, and also, look, another bit of big news. Randy Short is hooking it up. I'm going to interview Roger Stone on this channel, either later this week or next week. I'm going to check his schedule and see. Do you guys know who Roger Stone is? If you don't know, Roger Stone is responsible for getting Nixon elected in the early 70s. He's responsible for Reagan's election. He's responsible for Bush's election. And he's also responsible for getting Donald Trump to even want to run for the presidency. And getting Trump elected. And no, that's a good question. What kind of questions I'm gonna ask? I'm gonna see. So, man, my heart goes out to you, dog. Grandma, your 2 uncles, and your great aunt. Man, keep your heart space open, brother. And keep your heart space open through all that death. And whatever issues you're going through, if you feel like crying, cry. Cry, cry, cry. Let it out. Don't hold none of that shit in. Whatever emotions you in, brother, make sure that you express those emotions. All right? Don't let pride stop you from crying. When people close to you die, cry and cry some more. Be genuine with your feelings. Don't suppress them. Suppressing your feelings only hurts you. That's right, trusted shooter. So, yeah. Back to Roger Stone. He's someone who's gotten a lot of people elected, right? So what does that tell me? That tells me he understands an angle in politics on getting things done and getting people in office. So I'm going to approach the interview from that point of view. What Roger Stone has done is nothing short of amazing. He's gotten the most unelectable people elected. When I see that, there's information that he possesses that we as black people need to know and understand. So I'm going to interview him from that point of view. Nixon was supposed to beat Kennedy in 1960. But Nixon looked like a fucking cartoon caricature. He had bad policies, and he looked like a set of bagpipes. Roger Stone still found a way to get him elected. Reagan was an actor. Reagan wasn't taken seriously at all. Roger Stone got him elected. Oh shit, here come a fire truck. Oh, they're going the other way. Well, y'all know Trump. When Trump said he was gonna run in 2015, no one took him serious. He was unelectable. Roger Stone got him elected. We as black people, we're maturing into a new political space. The cool thing about us millennials, younger Gen X, and the generation behind the millennials, we're doing the shit a little different than our previous people. We ain't really tripping on political parties no more. It's coming down to whoever has our agenda. But there is a way to frame your agenda in a way to get people who generally wouldn't support your agenda to get them to support it. That all comes down to framing, using the right words, the right context, showing your agenda in the right point of view. That's something that we can get better at, because we've been raising hell, us black folks, since 2016. We have been raising hell. And that's a good thing. But we can evolve and refine it. So when I interview Roger Stone, my questioning is going to be along those lines. I already know, I'm like 99.9% sure Roger Stone don't support reparations. I don't care. He doesn't have to. I'm pretty sure when I saw Roger Stone's documentary, I'm 99.9% sure that he subscribes to a fuck ton of white supremacist ideologies. I'm pretty sure he does. And he's used race to get white people elected. He has. But he's also a white person who got sort of outcast from the Republican Party because he told them, hey, basically, y'all got to share something with these black people over here. That's a base that we can get. If we just give them black people something, they may fuck with us. Republicans wasn't trying to hear that shit. So I'm going to take what we can learn that we can use from him. But if you're expecting one of those gotcha moment interviews, I'm not doing that. Someone on Instagram asked me, you should ask him about what he said about Tavis Smiley and Negroes. And it wasn't Tavis Smiley, it was a Mo Kelly and all that. No, I'm not. Not going there. Don't care. I don't care. I don't care what Roger Stone told a few Democrat shield Negroes. All right? When I'm dealing with them folks, like Nitty Fuller said, if someone has the ability to practice white supremacy, I'm going to just assume that's what they do. All right? I'm not the kind of nigga that look for good white folks. I don't care about good white people. That if you got a bag of information that I can use, I want that information. I don't give a good goddamn what your point of view is. So it ain't gonna be no gotcha moments in this interview. It ain't gonna be no, why don't you support reparations? Reparations are for us to support and for us to push and enforce on them. That's our job. If a white person want to jump in at some point, cool. But it ain't about them, it's about us. And it's about us imposing our will. It's about them. It's about us imposing our will. So Roger Stone is someone who has shown proven success on forcing his will upon the government, regardless of how unpopular it was. We remember how unpopular Trump was in 2015. He was a joke, but he won. And that's strategic. So this interview is going to be about political strategy. This interview is going to be about information. His personal views are not my fucking business. I don't give a damn. Y'all don't know the personal views of your math teacher in the first grade, but you learned 4 + 4 is 8, didn't you? You may not know the personal views of your English teacher, but I see y'all in here, well, most of y'all know how to spell correctly. $504 Gusto, what up? What's up, Knockout Noda? You don't know. Think about it. We're all speaking and writing, and we learn these writing skills, our math skills, at a very young age from people we don't know their political point of views. I had a fair amount of white teachers. I'm sure Ms. Hunt at 74th Street Elementary School on 74th and Van Ness, my first grade teacher, she was a bitch. I'm sure Ms. Hunt was a racist bitch. I am 99.9% sure of it. That bitch did not like me. Oh, my first grade teacher, Ms. Hunt, ooh, she hated me. She hated me. But I still learned 12 + 12. Do you feel where I'm coming from? Do y'all know in kindergarten, I was broken in kindergarten as far as school goes. Now, I tell you, I wasn't broken. I was supposed to break. I didn't break, but I was heartbroken. I say I was heartbroken because I still persevered and won. I got a fucking college degree. But in elementary, I didn't know I was dyslexic in kindergarten. No, I went through all school not knowing, being dyslexic, having dyslexia, and dysgraphia, and didn't know it. Dysgraphia is when you can't really translate words from the board to the paper. So when I was in kindergarten, I had a teacher at 74th Street Elementary School, Miss Sears. Our assignment would be right on the board, today's date and your name at the top of the paper. Do y'all know? We got that assignment, class started at 8 a.m. Recess was at 10. It would take me that amount of time to write what's on the board. And the only thing on the board was, today is Tuesday, Today is Tuesday, September 20th, 1987. That's all that would be on the board. But it used to take me about 2 hours to write that. Because I would keep looking and keep looking down. I would look up, look down, look up, look down. So now, all the other kids in class, now I didn't need glasses. I got 20/20 vision. It wasn't glasses. My vision's fine. I never needed glasses. Just listen to the story. It would take me, so all the other kids in class, they're done within 5 minutes. So now Miss Sears is on to instruction. While she's teaching, I'm still trying to write what's on the board. Me being an IEP advocate the way I am now, what I've done over the last 15 years, advocate for kids in the special education system, what I know now is, okay, if a child is displaying that type of behavior in class, that child should be tested. Because I was an obvious case of dysgraphia. But as a 6-year-old, I don't know what the fuck dysgraphia is. My mom don't know what dysgraphia is. She's working 40 hours a week. My dad don't know what dysgraphia is. But I didn't find out I had dysgraphia until I was in my 30s. Looking back, like I ended up fixing it. And dysgraphia is a brain thing. It's something that, you know, it hinders your ability to copy what's in front of you. But it's not a lifelong permanent condition. There's a way to learn and teach around, and within a few months, you can get around the dysgraphia. Dysgraphia is not a permanent thing if taught properly. It's not a permanent thing. Like now, I translate shit easily now. But as a 6-year-old, that was very tough for me to do. My brain didn't put those two things together. So Miss Sears, in front of the whole class, because she made me stay in recess until I finished. But she said, but before she made me stay, Miss Sears said, Dwan, there's something wrong with you. I'm gonna call your mama, and I'm gonna make sure you held back in kindergarten. You ain't going to the first grade, because you don't know what you're doing. You ain't gonna go. And she said that shit right before recess and let all the other kids go and play. And I had to sit there feeling like a dumbass and write down today is Tuesday, September 15th, 1987. Y'all know how stupid I felt. Do you understand how absolutely dumb I felt? Mind you, my sister's an A student. My brother get good grades. All these other kids, you got the other kids out front, the kids that don't, you used to have them kids in school that you just knew was dumb, like the big head kid named Henry with a water head. Used to stutter real bad, and when y'all talk, all the only thing the nigga want to do is fight. I got that nigga turning in work before me. Nigga, I felt dumb than a motherfucker. I didn't halfway know I had a brain until I got to college. I thought I was dumb K through 12, for real. Like, that's real talk. I thought I was stupid than a motherfucker. Because my whole time in school, let me tell you another thing about me. My first time ever missing a homework, and I said this on Craig Facts, niggas thought I was playing. My first time ever missing a homework assignment was second semester of 11th grade. That was the first time I ever missed a homework assignment, was second semester, 11th grade. I used to do every homework assignment because tests was hard than a motherfucker. I used to work my ass off for a C. That's how I was. I looked at my cumulative GPA in junior high and high school was a 2.55. And that's not missing one homework assignment that whole time until like 11th grade. Now, I would miss like a week or two sometime at school because I had bad asthma in that middle school. But Nigga, when it came to Scantron tests, again, here come dysgraphia and dyslexia. On the Scantron test, A, B, C, D, I was see the answer is B, but I would write D. I did that a lot. And then I had and then when it came down to it, and then when I got to filling in the blank test, I'll forget it. I can tell you right now, to this day, if I get a fill in the blank test, I can guarantee you I'm gonna fail that motherfucker. I can't fill in no fucking blank. They be like, okay, fill in the blank. In 1776, the United States declared war on on England in the year fill in the blank, or it'll say whatever fill in the blank is. I don't know what the fuck. Now, if you tell me to write an essay on the Revolutionary War, I'm gonna get an A++. If I get an essay format question, shit, I'm killing that bitch. But if you tell me to fill in the blank, no sirree, I lost. I'm done. So I knew that about my test taking. This is high school. This is LA. These motherfuckers ain't giving you essay questions. They don't want to work, these teachers. They want you to do Scantron tests. Nigga, I spent my whole life in school thinking I'm dumb than a motherfucker. But when I got to college, I had two good teachers that really put confidence in me. Three. Miss Laham in the 5th grade, old white lady. I gotta call her and see if Miss Laham gotta be 100 years old now. I think she's still alive too. I gotta call one of my classmates and find out. Cause Miss Laham was in her like 60s when I was in elementary school. And so Miss Laham gave me confidence in 5th grade. She was the hardest teacher I ever had, and I got to be in her class. And I had a whole bunch of ancient teachers at middle school. I ain't really none that stick out. Maybe Miss Harkavy. But when I got to 10th grade, I had a geometry teacher named Mr. Brown. And Mr. Brown, his mom was my dentist. My childhood dentist. That was his mom. And Mr. Brown would play, he would have, this is 1997, so he would have this one, Baduism drop. He'd always have Erykah Badu playing when we walked into class. Or some old John Coltrane or some shit. He was the first black man that I really saw. He told me, he told us math comes from Kemet. That was like my first real like in grassroots black teacher. That was like all, I had black teachers, but that was my first black teacher to really tell me how it is. And then I had Mr. Kataoka, Asian man. He was the hardest teacher I ever took at Westchester High School. But Kataoka would tell me, I failed this class. I failed algebra. I failed algebra 1, but I took him again because it was like, you know what? If I'm gonna go to college, I'm gonna face a lot more teachers like him. So I failed the first semester of algebra 1. And so I took him again, and I passed that hoe. When I was in school, I made sure I always took the hardest teachers. Because I wanted to get, I wanted to sharpen myself. I had a bigger understanding that, my grades may not be that good, and this shit may be hard, but I'm gonna win. Once I make a decision, that's it. Once DwannBrown says this is what it's gonna be, then that's what the fuck it's gonna be. So I had this English teacher at Westchester named Miss Wong Nichols. See, when we foundational black Americans talk about some of these microaggressions from these other groups, we got stories. Yes, on one hand, I had Mr. Kataoka, who was great. He was Japanese. One of my favorite teachers. He was my wife used to be in this class, but me and my wife would never be in the same class. My wife was in like AP classes, and I don't know if y'all know about California schools. California is segregated, and my wife was in class with the white kid, like all the white kids, and like 5 black kids got in the AP classes, and my wife was one of the 5 black kids that would get the AP classes. So we almost went to 2 different schools. But I had a teacher, other Asian teacher named Miss Wong Nichols. And and my mom, when we would have parent teacher night, she would always ask Miss Wong Nichols, okay, one time she asked Miss Wong Nichols, what is it gonna take for Dwan to get an A in your class? And Miss Wong Nichols said, she rolled her eyes at my mom and was like, huh, well, he can get a C if, like what? Mama, I'm asking, can I get an A? She rolled her eyes, like really rolled her eyes, and then said, well, this is what he can do to get a C. And I saw that shit, and my mom was like, I'm preparing my son for college, so this C shit ain't gonna work. And then she gave my mom a look like when my mom said college, this Asian bitch rolled her eyes again. Mind you, I'm at Westchester High School. This year we win a state championship. Salute to Tony Bland and David Blumenthal. This is like the year before Trevor Ariza and all them niggas came. A few years before. They came like in like 99, 2000. This is a couple years before Trevor Ariza, Amir Johnson, and like those 20 NBA players Westchester done produced this century. Like, these niggas, and so I'm like, all right. So I knew it then. I was like, okay, I'm gonna graduate college. Fuck this shit. And it wasn't until I got to college that I saw I had a brain. College brought it out. This is one thing I will say. I talk shit about going to college. And yes, I stand by the fact that college is a waste of money in most situations. Not all, but most. Specifically people who take out loans to go to college to ultimately end up not working in the field that they studied. College was advantageous to me because it brought out my confidence. I paid for it cash. Like I worked at the bank. My parents paid, like when I was in junior college, my parents only paid like my first 3 years of junior college. And junior college is cheaper than like in LA. It's like $11 a unit. So junior college, when I was at Santa Monica College, that was like $250 a semester for 12 classes. I meant 12 units. 12 units is 4 classes. That would run you about after you pay your health fees, about $300 for a semester. So junior college was hella cheap. If you could do it under those circumstances, then by all means, go and do it. I was smart about college. And then when I got to Cal State Northridge, I paid that way. I paid that shit cash. I think school was only like $1,700 a semester. So that wasn't shit, because I stayed at home with my parents. I didn't move on campus. I wasn't about to take out loans a loan to move on campus. Fuck that. But somebody said we can't all work the bank. The bank was an $8 an hour job, bro. See, there we go. Stop, black folks. There go that defeatist mentality right there. No. I made $8 an hour at the bank when I was a teller. I got promoted to new accounts. I was already in my 4th year of college when I got promoted to new accounts. And even that job was $12 an hour. I hustled, nigga. When I worked at the bank, I also played the drums at church. That's some money. I taught myself how to play the drums because when I was in high school, I was like, I'm not fucking around with these fucking parties. I'm going to teach myself a skill. So I spent my high school years teaching myself how to play the drums. So by the time I got to college, I'm playing the drums at church. That's a check. I play the drums at another band. That's another check. Or cash. And not only did I work at the bank and play the drums, I also had a side hustle And my side hustle would be if I had some loans that got denied, I had another side loan business that I would take the customers I lost at Washington Mutual and do their loans over there and make 1-2 points on the back end. And on top of that, I'd pick up work where I can find. When I would see things that I can buy low and sell high, I do it. I've always been a hustler, nigga. I don't let my circumstances determine what I do. I pick and choose what I want to do, and whatever that is, I hustle my way to get it. That's just the way I live my life. You dig? It's all good. I'm glad you said that, because as black people, I ain't the only one. Shit, I don't know how it is where y'all live, but here in LA, LA just a hustling ass city. Maybe because shit's so expensive out here, I don't know. But this city is it's a hustling city. Everybody's on the move. Like, none of my friends do just one thing. Well, except for the professionals. Like, I have a couple of homies that's engineers. Like, yeah, that's all the fuck they do. But them niggas make shit. Them niggas make $150,000 a year, so hey, that's different. But other than my friends that like engineers, everybody out here got like 3-4 hustles. Like, I don't know the women this is a hustling ass city. So for me, it was just normal to hustle like that. The difference is here's the problem with LA niggas. They do all that hustling to floss. And that's where the problem comes in. Niggas hustle, but they hustle to floss. Nigga, I hustle to better myself. These niggas hustle for a fucking goddamn Balenciaga bag or whatever the fuck. I just found out what Balenciaga was like 2 or 3 years ago. I didn't know what the fuck no Balenciaga was till like 2 or 3 years ago. But these dumb niggas are hustle for a fucking, for back in the day, niggas was hustling for Tommy Hilfiger gear back in the 90s. Like, nigga, you working your ass off for that Hilfiger jacket? Sit your dumb ass down. So it's like, so back to what I was saying, college is where I got to really see what my gifts are. And I saw I had a gift for speaking when I just took a debate class just because it felt like an easy B. I'm like, I don't know if I'm working. And so by the time I got to college, I realized, okay, I got this reading thing. I didn't start being able to read good until I started smoking weed in my 30s. I've always could read, but it would take me a long time to read. When I was in college, it would take me about 45 minutes to read 2.5 pages. Dyslexia, nigga. Them letters, when I read them letters would be crip walking on the page. I'm looking at the period jump around. No lie, it would take me about 45 minutes to read about 2.5 pages. So I realized by like my second semester in college, okay, this studying thing ain't gonna work like that. I'm just gonna have to pay real close attention in class and use my memory. I'm pretty good at recalling things. So let me just use my memory. So in college, I made sure that I found teachers that lectured. If I enrolled in a class and the teacher was like self-study, I'd drop that class immediately. Because I'd be like, I know I'm gonna fail this motherfucker. So by the time I got to my second year in college, I stopped buying books. I only bought like math books. If it was like any other class other than math, I never bought the books. So I wasn't gonna read them anyway. I'm just gonna go to class every day and take good notes. And then when the tests come, I'm gonna remember these fucking lectures. And that's how I got through college. I would memorize lectures. So when I get a question, I can recall that lecture. And that's how I got through college. But you say you hate when the only one instructor talk last. I love when the instructors talk, cause then I could bullshit. You know what I mean? Like it'll be those classes where we can raise our hand and talk. I remember I took a geography class one time. That geography class, and I'm good at geography. I could see. I have it, nigga. I know how to drive. I don't need no fucking Google Maps. Just tell me the address and I'm there. My recall game is crazy. Like, only time I need to put in Google Maps is my first time going somewhere. Once I've been somewhere, my recall game is crazy. But the problem was, this geography class, these niggas, he did all fill in the blank tests and multiple choice. When I saw that, I'm like, oh, I'm fucked. No, I take it back, it was a third. It was a third fill in the blank, a third multiple choice, and a third essay. So I'm like, okay, I can ace the essay part, but acing the essay part is only a third of the test. I'm saying 33%. That's a fail. Damn. But he like talking a lot in class. So I made sure to raise my hand every day and talk. And talk. And so the motherfucker liked me, and he ended up giving me a B, like a B+. I'm like, man, hell nah. I failed 3 of the 4 tests. But I still got a B. Yeah. What's up, brother love? What's up, Nicole? And what's up, Aries? But college taught me how to maneuver around them. College, I learned early on, I thought the white liberal was my friend. And by my 5th year, I realized the white liberal ain't shit. See, college gets you thinking the white liberal your friend. The white liberal female, college make you thinking they know. You know, people of color and, you know, how we're all oppressed minorities, and I'm a minority, I'm a lesbian woman, and I understand. And so, college, I went from thinking that the white liberal was my friend to knowing that bitch is the devil. But so it's like at the end of the day, you got to do it your way. And like, I don't even know how I got on this tangent talking about college and school. How the fuck did I get here? Anyway, yeah. See, me and Butterlove went to the same school. We just went different years. She went to Cal State Northridge. I went to Cal State Northridge. But I was in Cal State Northridge 03 to 05. 2 years and I'm out. But I spent 4 years in junior college. Yeah. See, son. Them days was, I wasn't but we was talking about Twitter Spaces earlier. Oh yeah, confidence. That's where I got my confidence. And like, so I said that to say, I'm glad you brought, thanks Trusted Shooter. I'm glad, because I want to finish that point up. Because I want to finish talking about we was talking about the Roger Stone interview that I'm putting together. I said that to say, regardless of how any of those professors felt about me, regardless of our opposing viewpoints, I still learned from them. Another one of my greatest professors of all time, and I got to get back in contact with her. We briefly got back in contact through LinkedIn like 5 years ago. but it was a lesbian white feminist. Her name was Nancy Grass Hemert. Yeah, I know, weird sounding name. But that white woman is the person that told me I have a gift in speaking. Cause I had her for two classes. This is when I switched my major at Santa Monica College. I started out as a film major, then I went to business major, but business calculus fucked me up. And plus I was like, man, I ain't gonna do this shit. I ain't gonna be I'm not about to get hired by no fucking white firm. So I took a speech class and I had this teacher named Nancy. She's a white woman lesbian, Santa Monica College. And she really brought my public speaking gift out of me. I'm just in class having fun. Every time it was my turn to speak, I'm gonna say some shit and I'm gonna make it funny, because that's just how I naturally am. Especially then. I'm not like that now. I'm less funny now now I turned 40. But really since I've been like 38, I don't crack jokes as much as I used to. But me in my 20s, in my teens, nigga, everything was a fucking joke that I said. But this white lesbian woman is the person that said, DeWan, you have a gift. And it was her, and I had a white woman, a Jewish, it was 3 white women that made the biggest impact on me in college. 3 white women. And you see how I can still get information from white people, see that there are some cool white folks out there, and still be black first. This for you coon niggas out here who had some good interaction with white folks. Now you think every white person is good. This is for you niggas. 3 white women in college really put me in the path that I'm on right now, speaking in public. One was an English teacher, professor, named Miss Gilmore. The second was a white economics teacher, woman. She's a Jewish economics teacher. She was a Jewish economics teacher, woman. I forgot her last name, but we used to just call her Cassie. We called her by her first name, Cassie. We used to have to propose business plans in class, and then go up in front of the class and speak on our business plan. And I always had a certain thing to my speeches. And Miss Cassie, she held me after class one day, and she said, DeWan, have you ever thought about being a lawyer? This is what this Jewish woman said. She said, I live in a family of lawyers. They all, if they heard you speak, they wish they can talk like that. You have a gift. You should really think about being a lawyer. Because she would throw me, when I would have my business proposals, it was like a real interactive class. She would throw me questions on the spot. So you had to be on spot the same way you would be in a real business meeting. You can't, if you're in a business meeting giving a proposal, they're gonna ask questions. So she would just throw questions at me, and everything she threw at me, I'll have an answer for. Again, I'm just naturally. I don't see my gift. Most people, that's why I'm so committed to reading people's gift. I wrote a book on finding your gifts before I even brought y'all my Cardology. Now with me knowing Cardology, I really can pinpoint your gift. But y'all see now my underlying motivation for having such a passion behind helping people find their gift. Because my gift was on my nose the whole time and I didn't see it. It took 3 different white women to point that out. Maybe 4, because I had a voice and diction class in Santa Monica College, and that white woman, she told me I had a gift for gab. And then I had Miss Nancy Grassheimer. I had her for 4 different classes at Cal State Northridge. At Santa Monica College. She's the reason why I went to Cal State Northridge, because she graduated from Cal State Northridge, and she told me about that department. I had her for speech, I had her for debate, I had her for intercultural communication, and I had her for interpersonal communication. So she's the one that was like, you have a gift at this. If you want to do this more, she said, I recommend that you major in communication studies. I'm like, communication? What's that? I didn't even know that degree existed. She said, no, comm studies. They have a very good comm studies department at USC and at Cal State Northridge. She said, I recommend Northridge because you're going to get those professors also teach at USC, but it won't cost you as much. She was like, and if you major at that, she's like, that degree is not going to get you into any one job, but it'll be something useful for you at any job. And I said, bet. And that's what got me to major in comm studies. And I'm so glad I made that decision, because comm studies really taught me, because I also had the other model class I took, my other passion was anthropology. So comm studies, even though I didn't get a degree in anthropology, if I went back to college, I probably only have 12 units to get a double bachelor's in anthropology. I probably only need 4 or 5 classes to get a double bachelor's in anthropology. But that's where I learned how to study lineage. That's where I learned how to study culture. That's where I learned how to study how to connect cultures. And that's also where I took music classes. I took 6 different music classes in college too. So a lot of my music knowledge I have now, I was pointed in the right direction because I took the right classes in college on music. But learning how to study culture, learning how to study information and how information flows and how cultures develop and crash, I learned all that shit in college, how to do that. So now I just apply it to when I talk to music history. I never thought about calling myself a music historian, but I've been studying music for so fucking long and taking cultural anthropology classes all throughout college. My biggest takeaway from that, I can't tell you anything that I learned in cultural anthropology other than how to find culture, what culture is, how to define it, and how culture moves throughout a society. That's one thing we really focus on in cultural anthropology, is studying the movement of culture, how to define a dominant culture versus a non-dominant culture, how to define linguistics within cultures. In one of those anthropology classes I took, that's when I learned that white folks understand black people. They understand us like a motherfucker. They said, one of my professors was like, yeah, culturally, the European culture is direct, sort of to the point, and the black culture is figurative. The Europeans say, hey, I made $10. I had a tough day at work. This is one of the things we took in class. The European culture says, honey, I'm home. I had a tough day at work. The black culture says, honey, I'm home. Today I worked, it felt like I worked 18 hours today. And when my teacher said that first, I kind of want to get up and sock her in the jaw, bitch. But then I sat and thought about it. We studying culture. I'm I thought about my grandfather. I thought about my dad, my mom. We were studying African American, what they call, they know our culture, bruh. Our culture ain't no secret. We studied this shit in college. They know, and this is base level. I'm not talking about a level 404 class. I'm talking about level 1, the 1 and 2 and 3 level classes, the 300 level classes. I'm taking 300 level anthropology classes and 200 level anthropology classes, not graduate degree shit. This is easily accessible information. And they're talking about black culture, how figurative we are. And we're talking about black music. So some of this shit I'm talking about, I learned in college. And then me being a drummer and me being infatuated with jazz, I've always been infatuated with anything Dizzy Gillespie. For 30 years, I've been infatuated with Dizzy Gillespie before I even got to college. Because his cheeks used to blow. Dizzy Gillespie used to play that horn, his cheeks used to come out. So I've been infatuated with Dizzy Gillespie, Miles Davis, Max Roach. Going back to 96, 97, nigga. 92. But really heavily started like in 96. 96 when I started really taking the drum serious. And I had this man in my church who would let me borrow his albums. So the first album he let me borrow was Live at the Beehive by Max Roach. And Saw Peanuts by Dizzy Gillespie and Bird. So like, I spent my years in college learning how to study culture. I took a fuck ton of music classes, so that taught me where to look for the music history. I'm a young drummer, so I would always I always had elders around me that could tell me what to listen to. Like John, rest in peace, John. Like he was a mentor of mine. John Davis, that was his name. He went to my church, and he took a liking to me. He and his wife Sharon Davis. And when they saw me playing the drums at church, they would invite me over, and I told them I'm into jazz. So once a month, I would go to Mr. John Davis's house, and mind you, I'm 16, I'm 17. And John Davis would let me borrow albums, and I'll bring back the albums I had last month, and he would tell me stories about each one of the albums. He was there, because John ended up dying like in 2004 of cancer. But before he got sick, he was there on Central Ave in the 40s, in the 50s, and he would just sit and tell me them stories. So I catalog all this shit in my mind. You dig? My professor in college, Mr. Fiedmont, Santa Monica College, we would have talks. I see Mr. Fiedmont every summer at the Hollywood Bowl because he's always playing with somebody's band. He's a working musician, and these are people who like took me under their wing. And I was just a sponge learning jazz. I'm not trying to be no fucking music historian, but they would give me records and tell me the story behind the records. So when the internet comes, I start looking up even more of this shit. First off, I got a fuck ton of books. I have well over 100 books on jazz. Well over 100. On music, period. Well over 100 books. Because I love this shit. And so now on Twitter Space, you got these dickhead motherfuckers. You got these motherfuckers on Twitter Space now trying to come around and claim hip hop. Like, I thought this fucking science was settled. What up, man? Yeah, like, see, Quan, you're a 5, so I can see why you was lighting fucking teachers up. I've always known how to lay in the weeds. But back in college, I wasn't enlightened to the greatness of black people yet. I didn't know. So when they lied on a lot of things, black stuff, I didn't know they were lying to me. I would feel funny, like, no, that don't sound right, but I didn't know what the truth was. I didn't know what the truth was. No, tomorrow I'm doing my Cardology tomorrow, last thing first. I just couldn't read today because I had some serious sinus issues and stuff. And when you're not clear, I don't like doing readings when I ain't clear. I like being clear when I do my readings. Because I channel my readings. And that's what today's was going to show. Tomorrow's going to be about reading the week. But, so it's like, I'm going to come on tomorrow morning at about probably 9 or 10 LA time and read the week. I got a lot to do tomorrow, so I'm going to do, that's going to be the first thing I do in the morning is come on here and talk to you niggas. But, it's one of those things where we gotta, why I keep bringing up school because of this whole Twitter space thing that we're talking about, music. As you saw today, Tariq hosted a cool Twitter space today. Secure the Tribe, they hosted a Twitter space about Luke. You've been seeing nephew Luke run around trying to come up in our spaces talking that shit, disrespecting black women. That nigga 60 goddamn years old and still can't have a disagreement with a black woman without cussing and raising his voice. Told y'all I've been having sinuses all day. But Luke sort of went crazy in the chat room in one of those Twitter spaces recently a few times, and in particular around black women, cussing and raising his voice. Straight up beta male behavior. And it leads me to believe that clip that's going around, I don't know the brother's name, but y'all have seen it, that clip that's going around of that brother, he was interviewing with Vlad, talking about how all he saw was Luke beat on women. And one time Luke got his ass whooped by a woman. If I ever talk to Luke, I'm going to ask him, what's the name of that girl that whooped your ass? That's going to be on the question I ask. What's the name of that broad that whooped your ass? Somebody said a girl beat you up. What's her name? Nigga got beat up. Nigga Luke got beat up by a chick in stilettos. Dog, how could you live as a man if a woman in stilettos just came and faded you? Like, you could never be looked at the same. So, you say he don't even have a sound relationship with his daughter? Damn. So, Luke has been coming up in black spaces, talking black politics, talking FBA business, and the people online, they've been running up on him. Like, I'm loving what's happening right now. Because don't underestimate the power of rhetoric. Rhetoric is warfare. It is. Rhetoric is a primary part of warfare. Before this country even goes to war, it first changes his rhetoric. If you remember going back to the 80s, all those movies about war, and then here comes the 70s, and here goes Vietnam, then here comes the Operation Iraq or whatever. And remember the economy back then, it was always somebody from Eastern Russia. Go back to the 80s. They always had Eastern Russian enemies in the movies. Die Hard, You name the 80s movie. The enemy was always some fucking Eastern Russia or some Iraqi motherfucker. So when the United States bombed in the Kosovo War in '98, when Bill Clinton invaded and bombed Kosovo, it was just, they kind of told you they don't fuck with them Eastern Europeans like that. But then they stopped making Eastern Europeans the enemy. And then guess what? Now everybody wants Ukrainians to come to the United States because, they aren't that bad. They changed the propaganda up. Propaganda is a means of warfare. So when these people try to come in these spaces, we can't underestimate the power of people going into these Twitter spaces and checking people like Luke. That does mean something. The Security Tribe folks, they're gonna be having pull-ups in every city. I think they told me in September when they're pulling up, I don't know where, but on different government offices all throughout the country, demanding reparations. You got it got so hot on Twitter Spaces. Now you got Tariq organizing the October 15th rally. We're seeing things that got conjured up in Twitter Spaces now come into real life fruition. It was a Twitter argument I got in with Pete Rock that made me create my Black American music tree. Now that tree is helping a lot of people learn where the music comes from in one image. I did a tree. Most people would say write a book first, then sell a tree. No, I put the tree out there first because I understand most people ain't gonna read the book. Hell, 80% of the people who buy the book ain't gonna get past the second chapter. So before I even go through all that, let me just put it on a tree, put it in one image, and make it easy to understand. So we making up farmers. That's a good point, last name first, but we're making up for that. We always gave these people energy. And I'm not saying don't. Look, if a producer's out there and they have a chance to produce a white act that's going to bring in a lot of money, they're going to take the money. I get it. And that's fine. Take your money. But when we speak on these things, no, the black person's always first. As long as you understand that you're going to take your money with this white artist, but now when it comes time to preserve the culture, you're not even going to mention them. White folks work with us all the time. They don't mention us in our contributions. They make money with you. They smoke weed with you. Listen to rap with you. But when it comes time to tell the story, you ain't included. Now, if our producers are like that, then okay, cool. Yeah, I am gonna do some more segments breaking down the tree, Nicole. I just been having so much going on, but I will do segments breaking down the tree. But the rhetoric conjured up in Twitter is turned up into real life action. You know? And the thing about us, don't nobody want that fade. Especially rhetorically. We black folks, we spend every day of our lives sharpening our tools amongst each other with the jokes and the comebacks and the snaps. Look at you niggas in the chat room right now. We be talking about some serious shit. It's gonna be 2 or 3 niggas in there that wanna just tell jokes. I don't even get mad, because that's who we are culturally, you know? Ooh, shit. Gotta sneeze. Ooh, shit. So, you know, we are so hard on ourselves as people. When one black person does something, we're the first ones to be like, damn, we gotta do better. We are so self-critical. But all of those traits that we've had that have somewhat hindered us in different ways are going to help us in this movement right here. Because as people come for us that we've been silent about, we gonna slice and dice their asses. Because we spend all goddamn day slicing and dicing each other. Man, I'm not gonna get sick. Yeah, I'm done busted too. Peace be still. So you got niggas like Larry Smith running around in the chat room. Niggas like him is the reason why these people don't want to fuck around. Because you be seeing these jokes these other groups they've been having about us in Clubhouse. All they can say is, they're not educated. And this is no disrespect to y'all, to the cool ones. But y'all know how y'all cousins get down. They're not educated. They're all drug dealers. All these, you ever notice this shit? All these countries that roll they fucking R's got issues with black people. All these drug dealers. These drug dealers. Man, it's drugs, motherfucker. Start rolling your goddamn. You talking about me, you can't. And nigga, that's too, you can't say drugs without rolling your fucking tongue, dickhead. But they don't be having, they little jokes about us be weak as fuck. And they still, as adults, detest being called African booty scratchers 40 years ago. They detest being called African booty scratchers. And African booty scratchers is like the weakest joke that like I said, that African booty scratcher is the joke that niggas would say when they ran out of other jokes. So that is something that you picking a fight you don't want. And I said this in the Secure the Tribe room today. Think about this, black people. We are the generation that's supposed to think that jazz is white. We're the generation that's supposed to think that rock and roll is white. We're the generation that's supposed to think blues and country music is white. That's us. Cause I told you I'm a documentary hound. I've been watching documentary. I'll go pull up a documentary on jazz that was made in the 1960s. Those are some of the best documentaries because you get a lot of those original jazz guys were still alive. But even back then, they would talk about jazz as a white, and if you go back to those documentaries in the 60s on jazz, it was white instrumentation that black people picked up. It was told as a white first story in the 60s, in the 70s, really in the 80s. Go back to the documentaries in the 80s. In the 80s, if they're talking about rock and roll, if they're talking about jazz, look, just pull up any documentary on rock and roll or jazz from the 80s. It's all looked at from a white perspective. They done put in well over 50 years, well, that's Diamond for 60 years of propaganda. And hell, we can go back to the original days of jazz. When jazz first started, you had white acts claiming jazz for whites. And the New York Times and the William Randolph Hearst newspaper and all these publications, they're co-signing it, calling jazz a rock and a white form of music, a white art. We're supposed to be the generation that everything is, that we all know that. But look, but look, it didn't work. So by the time you get to the documentaries of the 2000s, some of the best documentaries happened in the 90s and the 2000s, because that's the period when they realize it doesn't work and before they start pushing this immigrant shit. So your best documentaries on jazz, go look up at that documentary on PBS. It's a 10-part series on jazz that was done like in the year 2000. Look up that documentary. That's going to tell you a whole lot. It's like a 10-part series on jazz. If you have Amazon, pay the $3.99 for the PBS portion on Amazon Prime. Pay the little extra, it's worth it. And just pay for it for a month and watch this documentary on jazz they have on PBS, and then cancel it. Ken Burns, yep. So we beat white folks off. If you notice now, white people don't claim jazz anymore. White people don't fight back when we say country is started with black people. They won't fight back. They won't admit it, but they won't fight back no more. White people don't claim rock and roll anymore. We successfully knocked white people off with all of their propaganda money behind them. We successfully got white folks up off the block from claiming our shit. What the fuck you think we gonna do to these tethers? The documentary it's a Ken Burns documentary on jazz on PBS. Just type in, if you subscribe to the PBS thing, just type in jazz. It's like a 10-part, it's like a 8 or 9-part series, and each episode is 2 hours long. They get really nuanced to the progression of jazz. It's probably the best documentary you're gonna find on jazz. They made it clear that, okay, jazz is a black art form. They made it very clear. Because we won. Yeah, Quantum may be on YouTube. I'll be forgetting y'all asses. Yeah, so if we successfully beat the white supremacists off from claiming our shit, what are we gonna do to these people? Why y'all even trying it? So for the on-code Nigerians, the on-code Caribbeans, the best you could do to help us out is to just check your people. Like, tell them to chill. Just tell them to chill. Just tell them to chill, all right? We'd rather not do this, but we're not going to allow another generation of black people to be under a lie. You dig? Nigga said, what about polka music? Hey, but yeah, y'all gotta book some Cardology sessions this week. I'm gonna read The Country tomorrow for Diamonds Week. We're gonna read this week. And then y'all can call in tomorrow after I'm done reading the week. I'll read you. Yeah. I appreciate that, Aries. You're right, America's Maker. We know our culture. We know who we are, what comes from us. Yeah, we see the mainstream really trying. See, the mainstream is moving too fast. They forget that, nigga, we still here. Like, if y'all gonna try to claim hip-hop, you dumbasses should have waited like 50 more years when everybody's dead, like y'all did Jesus. That motherfucker waited till everybody who knew Jesus was long gone before they wrote one word about Jesus. And the Bible. If they was smart, they would have waited till we was gone. They trying to make this move right in front of us? And we got the internet, nigga? Okay. All right. All right. Yeah, it's a blatant, disrespectful lies. Like, chill, really? But we see what's going on right now on Twitter turning into something real. Offline. And all I gotta say is keep it up. It's about time that we defending ourselves. Because any thoughts on secret societies? Not really. They exist. What they talk about is a secret. So I'm not privy to the secret, so there's nothing for me to say. Really. Yeah. So all I gotta say is this, black people, and for us, the lesson today's talk is be willing to learn from anyone, regardless of their personal point of views. If they have a block of information that you could use, get the information. The same way you did in the 3rd grade when that teacher who used to roll her eyes at you taught you how to put together a compound sentence. And these Twitter spaces, what cats are doing online, is having real world results. Because people like the people in this chat room, the people who listen to the black media, the new black media, the people who listen to Brother Rich, Black Magic 363, and the people who are out in these Twitter space streets. These are the people who, we talking, we're communicating, and we realizing that we wasn't crazy. That, that it really is a problem, and we're using these spaces constructively to solve the problem. When we talked 2014, 2015, 2016, a lot of those talks were about the problem. Here in 2022, a lot of this talk is now about the solution. And that's a testament to us as a people, how we've been using this social media thing. Everything is a tool. You can use a tool to fix something or break something. That hammer can be used to hold up pieces on the wall, or it can be used to put holes in the wall, pieces of hole in the wall. Comes down to what you use it for. And although there are a lot of people out there using this hammer to put holes in the wall, we're the ones using the hammer to put nails in the wall to hold up the pictures that we want shown of us. And that's what's happening right now. Happening on YouTube, happening on Twitter Spaces, and it's only going to get bigger. Yeah. But, all right, man. But, yeah, man, it's just, we getting better. Get the T-shirts. Book a session. And remember, there are no perfect messengers, only perfect messages. For those willing to pick up the game. I'm going to see y'all tomorrow morning, as we read this 4 of Diamonds week. Get ready to hit me up with your birthday, and we're going to do all that good shit. I'll holler at y'all.